Alright, fellas, I'm deliberately gonna be like stopping this part way through. It's the small hours of the morning right now, and fortunately, YouTube is still processing the yesterday's video that honestly I didn't finish till like 7 minutes past midnight. Small hours of the morning right now. My sleep cycle's all shot to hell, as it has been for a couple of months now. Ugh. I'm not happy about that either. But whatever, right? You know, you're not watching these videos to hear about how my life sucks. Or doesn't suck, or may suck, or whatever, right? So I'm going to do blue, and then later I'm going to go over I'm going to stop the video, and then I'm going to do a second part where I do the artifacts and whatnot. So if you're watching this right now, don't worry about like watching a two-part video, blah, 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 blah. It's all going to be spliced together at the end. You know, I'm getting all of this done and out of the way now. So that way I'm not last minute scurrying to do this like 11 o'clock at night, whatever, you know? Gets a pain in the butt. So, here we're looking at the revised cards in blue. We're going to see a few things that are kind of out of character here. Things like Prodigal Sorcerer and Pirate Ship. Prodigal Sorcerer, you're familiar with him. He's 2 colors and a blue for a 1/1 that taps for 1 damage to target creature or player. Direct damage leaves aces really out of character for blue. At the time, however, the ability to have a creature tap for 1 damage to target creature or player, that was a blue mechanic at the time. And it stayed a blue mechanic for a really long time. And we had Prodigal Sorcerer and every base set up to 7th. I'm not sure if he was in 8th. I don't know. I know he was in 7th. With new art, really kick-ass art, I might say as well. But there's that. They had a version of him in Ice Age. They had a version of him in a slightly different take on him in Mirage, where they had Sukata Firewalker. They had a version in Tempest that was a merfolk. Urza's Saga had a flying version that was a fairy. Urza's Mercadian Masks. Did Mercadian Masks have one? I'm not 100% certain. I don't recall. I seriously don't recall. But I want to say they had similar things in Onslaught. Not so much similar, but derived. They started putting the effect in red after a while, but I think a lot of people early on acknowledged that it was more of a red mechanic than a blue mechanic, but it stayed in blue anyway because of, well, probably because of it being, you know, almost like a tradition or a sacred cow, blah 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 blah, you know? Whatever. Pirate Ship, much the same, except it was 4 and a blue for a 4/3 that could only basically it had Island Home, with a mechanic that would later be known as Island Home. Basically, it can't attack if your opponent has no islands. If you have no islands, sacrifice it. Theoretically, there was the land home mechanic applied to any basic land or even non-basic lands, but the only creature that ever had a land home ability that wasn't island home was a green creature in Ice Age, which had forest home, but I don't know if they ever eroded it to forest home. And not mention the fact the land home mechanic isn't really even supported anymore anyway, you know? It's pure drawback, it really is. Speaking of the island home mechanic, here we have Sea Serpent, which is a 5/5 for 5 and a blue with island home. Yeah. Oh look, there's Thought Lace. Yeah, it's another member of the Lace cycle. Yeah. Elemental Blast, you know, counter a blue spell. It's pretty basic color hate. Blue Elemental Blast is counter target red spell or destroy target red permanent. Destroy effects in blue are usually pretty rare. But hey, it's a color hoser, right? What we do see, though, a lot of in blue, in Revised, is stuff that blue is known for even today. Still known for. Will always be known for. Counterspell. Power Sync, Spell Blast, Clone, Vesuvan Doppelganger, Phantasmal Forces, Phantom Monster, Air Elemental, Control Magic, Steel Artifact, Animate Artifact, Reconstruction, Hercule's Recall, Sleight of Mind, Magical Hack, all of these things that Blue is still known for today. Counter Magic, taking control of your enemy's stuff, making copies of stuff, flying creatures, screwing around with artifacts in a generally positive way, changing color and land references on other cards. It's not something Blue's as well known for today because you don't see that done very often anymore. But it's there, Jeez. We've got a couple other things. We've got a couple of walls. We've got a 0-5 wall. It's a wall of water with water breathing. It's blue-powered fire breathing, right? Wall of air. We got a 1-5 flying wall. Drain power. Double blue. It's an interesting little card. You probably won't ever see it printed again. When you play Drain Power, your opponent taps all of their lands for mana, and then their mana pool empties into your mana pool. What else? We got a couple of cards here that were brought in from places like Antiquities and Arabian Nights. Reconstruction was Antiquities. Hercule's Recall, which is return all artifacts in play to owner's hands. That's original Antiquities. Unstable Mutation. I'm not sure if that was originally Legends or Arabian Nights even. I don't remember. I don't remember where Unstable Mutation originally came from, but it was not original base set stuff. Island Fish Draconius, that was originally Arabian Nights. It's a 6/8 creature for 4 and triple blue. You have to pay triple blue during your upkeep to untap him. Doesn't untap his blah 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 blah. And he's got Island Home. Yeah, it's not a good card, but it was. Ugh. What can I say? Ugh. We've got cards like Power Leak, Feedback, Energy Flux. They're basically ways to tax your opponent's enchantments or artifacts. Basically, your opponent's either going to be taking damage during his upkeep, or paying mana, or doing one or the other. Blah 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 blah. Kid science, fun stuff. We've also, of course, got Flight and Jump, which do exactly the same thing, except Jump is an instant that lasts till end of turn, and Flight's a creature enchantment. They both do the same thing. Creature gets flying. I don't get it. Jump does offer a little bit of tactical flexibility over Flight, in that you can bust out a blocker when your opponent's not expecting it if he's got flyers. That's about it. That's really about it. Psychic Venom. That's whatever enchanted land becomes tapped, does 2 damage to the land's controller. That would probably be more of a black or a red mechanic these days. Creature Bond, more of a black mechanic these days. When enchanted creatures put into the graveyard from play, Creature Bond does damage equal to the creature's toughness to its controller. What else we got around here? Water Elemental, it's a 5/4. It's pretty much identical to Fire Elemental. It really is. They stopped printing Water Elemental simply on account of the fact that a halfway decent fatty is just out of character for Blue. It really is. And that's basically what it is. It's a halfway decent fatty. Unsummon, bouncing stuff. There's another Blue mechanic that's well known today. More prominent today than it used to be, but hey, you know what? It's there. I'm trying to think of what I might be missing here out of blue. I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. I'm really drawing a blank. Especially considering how much of it I've got here, I'm thinking there should be more. Greater variety of cards, but I can't think of what I could be missing. I'm seriously drawing a blank. Probably because the bases are covered just about what I got here. Oh, hey, look, there's Merfolk the Pearl Trident. It's behind the Monarch. It's a 1/1 for blue. No specials. And oh, Lord of Atlantis. I don't have Lord of Atlantis here. Lord of Atlantis was double blue for a 2/2 Lord, which gave all Merfolk +1/+1 in Island Walk. Sad part is there was only like one Merfolk in the whole set, oh well. Oh, I don't have Fat Mahdi here. I'm pretty sure Mahamadi Jin was reprinted and revised. He's a big flyer. He's just a big, dumb flyer. He's like a 5/6 flyer for 6 mana, 4 in double blue. I want to say he was in revised. I know he was in. I'm pretty sure he was in 4th, but I think he was in revised. But I obviously don't have any here. One other thing that I want to talk about on blue before I bring the first part of this video to a close is this Nemajama right here. People are probably sitting there, okay, he found a card that didn't belong in here. You're wrong. That does belong in the blue. It's a blue card. If you look, that's a blue mana symbol in its casting cost. They fudged up the border. It's green. It's a blue card with a green border. It's our good friend Serendib Afreet. He's 2 colors and a blue for a 3/4 flying that during your upkeep does 1 damage to you. I'd play that all day. I'd play that all day. I mean, hold on, a 3/4 flyer for 3 mana. That only does that. The only drawback is it does 1 damage to me during my upkeep. Who cares? Who cares? It's a 3/4 flyer for 3 mana. You can't beat that with a stick. But yeah, I mean, blue was infamous back in the days being one of the most annoying colors in the game. Oh, I also don't see Stasis here anywhere. Stasis goes all the way back to Alpha. I want to say it was also in 4th edition. I don't see any revised Stasises here. I know I've got a deck that uses Stasis. I don't know if any of them in there are revised. It's a Cullison in blue for an enchantment with an upkeep cost of a blue, with very simple text. All players skip their untap steps. Oh yeah. Stasis was a royal pain in the buttocks. You basically use that to lock the game down. Stasis was, it was used a lot of ways. It really was. It was a fun card. It was a hated card. It was a card nobody liked. Right up there with Counterspell. Blue, counter target spell. There it is. Cut and dried, quick and dirty. The closest you see to that today is Cancel, which is the exact same thing for 1 more mana. Back in the day when I first got into the game, I wasn't keen on blue. I hated blue. My younger brother was the first person in our play group to really pick up blue, and we all learned to hate blue. And one day it dawned on me, hey, you know what? Any card that you hate when your opponent plays it is a good card. And eventually I branched out into playing all of the colors. When I first started, I was a white and green guy, and I did not have a lot of good white cards, to say the least. My selection of white was pretty assy, and I started trying to pick up some red cards, and I eventually just took my white, tossed it aside, and I started going red-green, and I stayed with red-green for a while. Occasionally I'd splash in white. White was good back at the time with red and green, because what I do is I'd make Thallid decks or fairy decks that use things like Juniper Order Advocate. It's a 1/2 white creature that's long as untapped gives all green creatures you control +1/+1. Yeah. That Orcish Oriflamme, covered that the other day with the red here. It's an enchantment that gives all attacking creatures you control +1/+0 till end of turn. yeah, I started specializing in like mass assault green decks, you know. And eventually I would branch into doing blue and black, and you know these days I'll have to admit my favorite color combination these days is white and red, and I think I've mentioned that before. I mean, when Ravnica came out and I saw the Boros Legion, it was like a wet dream for me. If you don't know what the phrase wet dream means, you're probably too young to know what it means. Don't look it up. Alright, I'm going to call this done for now, and we're going to get into Artifact later.